without a doubt, the greatest jerk bait in the country is that bait you're looking at right there. It's called a Pointer 100, Lucky Craft Pointer 100. That bait, I can't tell you how many fish I've caught on it, and there isn't a jerkbait tournament we have anywhere in the country that I would say at least 75% of the guys on the tour are throwing a Pointer 100. Lucky Crafts, what they've done is they've perfected suspending baits as well as the performance of this bait. From a fish catching standpoint, it's unbelievable, but for this size of bait, it gets down a lot deeper than a lot of traditional jerk baits that you've probably used over the years. This bait gets about a foot or two deeper, which makes a big difference a lot of times in getting a bite and catching bigger fish. As far as fishing the Pointer 100, I guess I always call it the Cadence. I fish on my fiberglass rod, and anywhere from 10 to 20 pound test, depending on how deep I'm trying to get it. But when I cast it out there, just reel just a little bit, and then I'll jerk the rod. 1, reel up, 2, I'll pop it twice. Let it pause, reel up, jerk, jerk, jerk. That single double cadence for me, I'd say day in, day out, probably catches more fish on the Pointer 100 than any other retrieve. So use that type of technique. Sometimes you do it fast, sometimes you do it slow. The colder the water, the longer you want it to pause. The warmer it is, the faster you can work it. Pop, 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 pop. When it's cold, that pop, let it sit for 15, 20 seconds, pop, pop. So keep that in mind. But if you've never caught fish in a jerkbait, the Pointer 100, hands down, the greatest jerkbait ever made. Keep that in mind. If we're going to go out and want to throw the rip bait, we're going to start with, typically, we're going to start with a 78. If the bait fish is small, I'm going to key on a smaller shad or silver sides, any little shiners like that. We'll probably go with a Pointer 78, which really is the most. This one, hands down, will probably mimic more actual size bait fish show to it at any given time. So this is probably where we'll always start. Yeah, Pointer 78. We got smallmouth, largemouth, spotted bass. Pointer catch them all, plain and simple. Hey, buddy. Hey. Let's do that some more. How do I pick a color when I go to a lake? If the water clarity is clear, I try and match the hatch or the forage of the lake as close as possible. Probably my absolute favorite color in most lakes we go to, got clear water, is a ghost minnow. That's my #1 choice. I'll start from there. And we start getting some overcast or just cloudy conditions, then I'll probably go to the chartreuse shad. Then, there's another great clear watercolor right there. So, and then probably move on to the nishiki. This is just a great clear water bait, overcast conditions. You can use it in stained water, colored water. And as the light changes, then that may determine if I change from just a natural translucent color to a more of a foil finish, say the Aurora Black. And then we start getting into stained water conditions or dirtier water conditions. And then I move into something with a little more color to it. You got a blue chartreuse. You can still go back to the nishiki. Then, in stained water, you use a gold quite. You just got to play around, but typically clear water, think of your more natural colors. The dirtier the water they get, or the darker the overcast conditions, the sky conditions, go to your darker colors or your brighter colors. And that's just my general rule of thumb, so just keep that in mind. The keys to the pointer minnow is that it is a reaction bait. Fish a lot of times are keying in on these baits through sight. These fish are visually seeing the erratic action of the pointer minnow and coming up to it. A lot of times that's a real key is fishing jerkbait is try and get down deeper. Now with this Pointer 128, we can get down pretty consistently with 12-pound test, probably in the 5-foot zone. But there's things you can do to get that bait deeper. If I'm fishing a clear water lake and I want to get that bait down in the 6 to 8-foot zone, I can throw it on 10, even 8-pound test, no problem. But that lighter line has less drag in the water, will allow that bait to get deeper down in the strike zone. You know, whether some lakes in Arizona or California have a bait called tilapia, or even just big gizzard shad and all that, the pointer 128 is really going to fit that bigger profile lake. Now this isn't a lure that we're going to go out there and expect to catch a lot of pound to 2 pound fish. You know, a lure like this, we're going to be looking fish in the 3 to 15 pound range.